To create minimalist photography, we want to use just a few elements. Minimalist photography is a style that celebrates simplicity and deliberate composition. We use uncluttered backgrounds and negative spaces to create powerful and impactful imagery. Think less is more. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 of my very best street photography tips for that minimalistic look. Most of the time in our cities and urban scenes, we have a lot going on. Way too much for the minimalist photographer. So, we need to look for simplicity. And one way we can do this is by selecting a simple background first. Once you have selected your background, you will then need to compose your frame, deciding how much of the background you want in the frame and also how far away from the background do you want to stand. Once this has been done, you will then want to adjust your camera settings and wait for the right thing to happen.
So I really like how the light is shining here. It's coming from over there, as you can see. But I really like the texture that we have. So we're getting highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow. So you're getting a lovely effect. Also, the security camera up there adds to it. So I'm going to just set up across the road. I'm going to shoot flat. So I'm just going to wait for some people to come down. Got my frame, I've got my settings, and I would like people to come from this direction, walking into the light, so we can get the light on their face. So it's all a waiting game now. I'm out hunting and I'm waiting for prey. I'm get my test shot in, and I'm gonna check it to make sure my histogram is good. Histogram looks good. Happy with that.
Having a rough idea of what you are trying to capture before it actually happens is a very good way of preparing yourself for a photo and ensures you will not miss that photo opportunity. Doing this often, putting in the reps, will help you predict what is going to happen next, and you will end up getting more great photos every time you go out. Negative spaces really give that feel of emptiness and wonder, and sometimes there is even the element of sadness and loneliness that we often associate with our big cities. This is probably the most commonly used way of creating that minimalist look and feel. Some photographers are really great at manipulating and playing with negative spaces. Alan Shala and Fan Ho are 2 photographers that are masters at using light and geometry. They both have the ability to manipulate the shadows to bring the audience's attention to the subject of the photograph. Negative spaces do not always have to be empty. They can also be something that is not so distracting. It could be a leading line, for example, or a pattern, or just something that is not taking center stage. Leading lines and geometric shapes are everywhere you look in our big cities. From staircases to escalators, alleyways, walls, buildings, and so on. Once you start looking for them, they will pop up all over the place. Leading lines are a great way of directing the viewer's attention to your chosen subject. In this photo here, I'm using leading lines to subtly direct the viewer's attention to the subject, which in this case is a man walking through a tunnel into the light. I always like having a person, usually a single person, in my minimalist photos. I find that too many people or things just make my photos look a little bit fussy and a little bit messy, sometimes overwhelming, taking us away from the minimalist look that we are after. Go out there and shoot black and white photography. Your camera will have a black and white color profile. Use this and it will help you visualize your black and white photos a lot better. If you go out there and shoot in color and black and white at the same time, you will just get confused. You'll find it overwhelming. Your brain will not be able to think in both mediums. Black and white photography is very different to color photography. Black and white photography requires a totally different skill set. I challenge you to dedicate just 1 month shooting every single day to black and white photography. You will see a great improvement on your photography and your black and white skill set. Light and shadow play a crucial role in shaping the mood, atmosphere, and visual impact of minimalist street photography. Strong contrast between light and shadow will add plenty of depth and dimension to your photos. Look for scenes where the interplay of light and shadow creates bold, graphic compositions. Shadows can define shapes and add visual interest to otherwise ordinary subjects. Silhouettes in particular can convey a sense of mystery, adding depth to your storytelling. Urban environments provide endless opportunities for creative use of light and shadow. From light filtering through tree branches to the harsh shadows casted by surrounding buildings, there's no shortage of interesting lighting effects to explore. Train your eye to recognize these opportunities and use them to your advantage. You see, we can all procrastinate about going out there and taking photos, reading endless articles, or worrying about our gear and the latest lens that would just come out, watching endless YouTube videos on how to do this and how to do that. I know, I have been there myself. The very best way to improve your photography is to actually get out there and take photos. It's like riding a bike. You can read up on all the different types of bike frames, handlebars, tires, gears, levers, helmets. The list goes on and on. The way we all learned how to ride a bike was in the actual riding of the bike. And through our mistakes, we learned a hell of a lot. And then we improved dramatically. The next most important thing I would say is to review your photos closely. Take a good, hard look at them and ask yourself these questions. What makes this a good photo? What can be improved in this photo? Can the composition be improved? Are my settings correct? What can I improve for next time? These types of questions and mindset of reviewing your photos will dramatically improve your photography week after week, just like riding a bike. Okay, so there are my 5 street photography tips for minimalistic photography. Make sure to like and subscribe, as this really helps the channel grow and continue making these photography videos for you all. Click on the video right here to see me on the streets of London capturing that minimalistic look. Until the next time, get out there and take those photos.